Ladies and gentlemen, I am Israel. The date is 13th of May 2016 and welcome to the Tribble Timewarp. We are looking at Star Trek Online's third expansion, Agents of Yesterday. Welcome to the login screen with a shiny Constitution class starship. Thomas the Cat has of course revamped and redone this. It is now much nicer. Look at that nice spinny nacelle and the deflector. That's also been very nicely redone. We'll get a closer look at her later on, I hope, once I get into the game. New login screen, of course. They've redone the art, and generally the whole thing has a TOS vibe to it. So let's get logged in. No, you don't get to see my password or my username. No such luck. Right, so character selection. This is, of course, Tribble, so I have a few characters copied over, a couple of duplicates, but the new content requires a new character, so let's get going. This is the character selection screen. Like I said, whole thing's got a TOS vibe. If we just flick over to Starfleet for the moment, you can see they've kept the overall theme, but, well, it's a 2200s background rather than a 2400s. So, we have got classic old-school consoles. That's a Pioneer class, if memory serves. It's worth noting that you can actually see the design lineage going back to the NX-01. They've rebuilt it, and then they've added the underslung engineering section as they needed more space for systems and crew. However, races, of course, this is back in TOS era, so you've got the founding four: humans, Tellarites, Andorians, and Vulcans. Worth noting the Tellarites are they're the 1960s take on the Tellarites. The difference is most noticeable with the rather upturned snout. Let's just pull up an old-school Tellarite. Well, I say old-school Tellarite, but I suppose technically they're new-school Tellarites, all things being relative. You can see that the nose is much less upturned, and there's much more ridging on the face. I'm not sure if that's intentional, or if it's just intended as a nod to 60s style makeup and hairstyles. Certainly the humans, for example, you've got a very 60s style, almost bowl side-parting haircut on him compared to the regular kind. We just flick through appearance. Obviously, the main season uniforms haven't been invented yet, so you've got dress uniform, medical, and tunic. Well, let's be honest here, nothing else has been invented yet, has it? A lot of... Well, you have got some of the modern, and I use the phrase loosely, haircuts, but it does default to the 60s option. So, hey, let's stick with tradition. Something from the period. Can go for dress uniforms, medical tunics, TOS tunic, we'll just apply that one. Interestingly, it starts you out in a TOS tunic no matter what. This is, of course, similar to the regular Starfleet tutorial that starts you out in an academy uniform because, hey, you're not an officer yet, cadet. Right. However, we'll flick back to the Tellarite for a second because, no, this isn't just a one-off. All of the Tellarite presets use the old school nose, so I'm pretty certain this is deliberate. Maybe the texturing could use a little more definition on the front of the nose. It looks a bit painted onto me, which of course it quite literally is, but hey, that's besides the point. So, what else have we got? Well, they've tweaked the race and engineer info screens. Thank you, Cryptic! This was a running concern with a lot of us, that it just gave you a baseline description, such as you have here on the mouse over, and Thomas, you put yourself centre stage, you naughty boy you. Well, I suppose we can't blame him. And then you got no hard details, so you really didn't get to find out what it did. It was kind of a, well, it's a bit of a roll, really. I mean, you might get to level 50 and decided you hated your character, but at least they tell you what the options are, and it's kind of in English, more or less. Of course, Miracle Worker really doesn't scale like that, which is still a bit of a problem. It's using ground numbers rather than space numbers, nor does it account for level 7. It's giving us level 1 numbers, which is not great. Little bit of background here. Tellarites often start conversations with a series of complaints or insults, and then they carry on their conversation with a series of complaints or insults, and frequently finish it as well. How Tellar did not devolve into civil war several centuries ago is beyond me. Then again, maybe they did. You get all these options. Please note, by the way, that it doesn't make clear that these are choose any 9, depending on level. So perhaps that could be tidied up a bit. Likewise, we've got the Vulcans, assault training, etc, etc, etc. And, of course, Andorians. And humans. Well, let's stick with the default for the moment. Likewise, science and tactical. You notice tactical have gold while engineering have red. But usual security wear red. Yes, security come under operations, as do engineering. Tactical, strictly speaking, are command rather than anyone else. So that covers that, although it's worth noting that the artwork we've got here is still the modern style, so maybe they need to get that into old school. In fact, we're going to pick tactical for this playthrough character, because I want to see what it looks like when you call in the security escort. Are they wearing yellow or red? Hey, details, details. So, background will have a random name. Marco, why not? And a random name for the ship. USS, Pannonia, Khedive, Eagle, Hardy, Cavalier. That's suitably buccaneering for the era, isn't it? Engage! Stardate 6147.4. So 614, assuming they're sticking with the convention that the first digit is relative to the season, this would be 1 year after Enterprise finished her 5-year voyage. I may be wrong here, of course, so I'd have to go back and look it up. Yeah, you can definitely see the callback to the NX-01 design lineage there. So, we're about to commence search and rescue operations over Taurus 2. This is, of course, an episode callback to the Galileo 7 first season TOS, in which, among other things, we had the High Commissioner, what was his name? Faris or similar? Proving that, yes, you can't spell ambassador without ass. However, let's have a quick look around the bridge. I think they've reworked this as well. Certainly, condition alert is new. Mind you, I haven't looked at the old Connie Bridge in a while. We've got the general walk around. Little bit of a glitchy here. That's a Constitution class MSD. We're not on a Constitution. Yes, I am nitpicking. Beta is beta. It's entirely the point. So, can we interact with any of the seats? No, and meet Captain Garrett, who will not be leading the away team as his feet are sunk in concrete. Don't worry, I'm sure we can beam you out at the end of the shift. Incidentally, Captain Garrett, presumably the father of Rachel Garrett, who will go on to become captain of the Enterprise C. Possibly grandfather, there's enough of a generation gap involved. Let's see what he's got to say. Okay, so we've located the wreckage of a crashed ship. He needs to get boots on the ground, take a landing party. Nice callback to the TOS series there. We didn't have away teams back in the 60s. It was landing parties if they hit the surface, and boarding parties if they hit another ship. We'll beam down right away, sir. No, you won't, because the atmosphere is messing up the transporters. So, get a shuttlecraft and head down. Now, we need to use the sensors to locate a safe landing site. Sounds good to me, sir. Unsafe landing sites are indeed bad. Now, the science station is not over here. In fact, it's over there, because you just like tripping me up, don't you? Okay, right, poke scanner. Scans the surface. This is, of course, your introduction to interacting with items. This is a tutorial. Would be nice to have a bend over and examine animation here, but I suspect syncing it up with a viewer would be a bit of a pain. It would also require you to warp the character into position, not to mention account for all the differences in height, weight, etc, etc in the character creator, so perhaps this is the least worst option. Also, Ensign, I realise you are on duty on the bridge of a starship, I realise we are in a tense situation, but you can actually sit on your chair. Just saying. So, we have found a safe landing site. Captain, I have found a safe landing site. Yes, sir, there's a good-sized clearing close to the crash site. Whether or not the clearing was created by the crash remains to be seen. Now, Ensign Mears has been assigned to the landing party. She was actually in the Galileo 7. She was one of them. She was only a yeoman at the time, though, so presumably in 5 years she decided to get the hell off Enterprise, which, let's face it, is a good career move if you like carrying on breathing, and go off to the Academy instead, because, well, your options are much better if you're an ensign than they are if you're a nameless yeoman. Grab a phaser, and from what I've read in Jim Cook's, chummy with the legend, are we? Taurus 2 can get a little rough. Yes, fascinating if you're an archaeologist with a specialty in primitive projectiles, though. Now, did we get sound on the bridge doors? No, I don't believe we did, and we have a little bit of a lighting issue as well. You can see that when it kicks into the animation, for some reason the doors they're using aren't quite picking up the lighting correctly. Remember, Tribble is Tribble, test server is test server. One of the reasons I dateline these videos. To the engineering deck. Yes, hello Ensign. Right, Ensign Tarsi, eh? Your minimap shows you where your objectives are. Well, I'm right in front of the objective. Ensign, hi. Right, the captain's asked me to make sure you get back in one piece. Excellent, what do you know about Taurus 2? M-class planet? Barely. Taurans are big, primitive, and hyper-violent. Keep the phaser handy, and basically bring spare power packs, because if you do need to refuel the shuttle, it can be a bit of an annoyance to be out of ammunition. Right, so we have an armory. Handy! So, interactable items have a glow around them. This is your introduction to the inventory. Let's just pick up a phaser. Nice animation, and it deletes the phaser from the shelf as well. Nice touch. Would have been even nicer given the way the character reaches up if it had removed this phaser up at the top. But hey, automatically appears in the holster, automatically equips. So, optional shooting practice. Right. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Yay! China targets, what can I say? Yoink, and yoink, and yoink. Oops, missed. Interesting. Oh, hang on a second. Does this target work? That is interesting. Let's kick out of shooter mode for a second. No, I can get 3 targets. Can't get that one on the left. It's not appearing properly, so that's a little bug. And just yoink. Boom. That should be enough unless you want more practice. Of course I want more practice. It's always good to have more violence. Might be a good idea to introduce the idea of a secondary fire mode here to give you the idea that you have a stun rather than just a primary shoot them till they fall over attack. But for some reason Cryptic have chosen not to. Now let's kick out of shooter mode. Switch out. So back to melee, back to standard, and weapon there. One of these days I remember where I left the holster. It's not B, is it? H? Yes, there we go, H. Haven't needed that key for a while, because let's face it, once you unholster a weapon in this game, it does tend to stay out until everything falls over. Unfortunately, I can't take one of the phaser rifles, because, hey, that would be sensible. I mean, let's face it, it's not like, well, you're feeling bouncy today, Ensign. Okay, so off she goes to the shuttle bay. Now, we could follow her, but something I discovered is if you sequence break and go round past the transporter room instead, you can't get into engineering at this point. I assume, given the fact they've gone to the trouble to create it on the map, that we're going to end up in there at some point. And yeah, you get told, security's that way, sir. Well, shuttle bay's that way. Right, thank you, crewman. No, it isn't. It's also this way. You know what, let's see if we can look in on some of the other decks. So, nope, Jeffrey's tube's there. Very nice rework here using the old 60s assets. And we've got the transporter room. Ensign Engineering, shouldn't you be manning your console? I realise I know the transporter's not an option, but hey, you don't need to physically stop me getting into it. Honestly, some people. Comm panel on the wall there, nice touch. You'll also notice that we've got some lighting effects going on at the edge of the screen, and that's going to kick up later on as well. Let's see, so here's Ensign Mears, ex-Yeoman Mears as well. Hi there. Reporting is ordered, ready when you're, although I can't say I'm happy to see Taurus 2 again. Can't blame her for that, because of course she was one of the Galileo 7. The Murasaki effect, Murasaki, I believe it's 132, is the nebula that we're in, and yeah, that's what fried the Galileo systems, caused it to, well, not crash, but it was not a smooth landing, put it that way. Not all of us made it back to the Enterprise alive. Sorry to hear that. Thank you, and you can see why, unfortunately, you're the only one on board who's been there, so, yeah. Beyond the natives are angry and have pointy spears, I'm not quite sure what assistance she's going to be able to provide us, but never mind. Ah, yes, of course, you're right, Lieutenant. You are a Starfleet officer, and you will perform your duties. I can count on her. Excellent, because we'd hate to have to bust you back down to Yemen, so she toddles off into the shuttle bay. Now, remember what I was saying about film effects here? So they have gone for, I don't know if they're trying to replicate 60s soft grain film here, but you'll notice that everything in here is just blurry. You can see it most clearly on the shuttle bay doors, and as we get closer the effect's fading. And we can switch out, and again you can see that we've got this weird blurring effect. Well, I say weird, but there you go. Now there's this big red button over here. Can I push the big red button? No, I cannot push the big red button. It's a shame, really. I mean, it's probably a good thing. Maybe it's an ensign eliminator. Shuttlecraft Copernicus, eh? After all, let's face it, anyone standing here, presuming that this button does in fact open the shuttle bay doors, well, let's face it, can you see any vacuum suits around here? No, neither can I. Nor can I see a force field. So, kind of awkward. So, there we are, aboard the shuttlecraft, Mears is standing about, and we've also got crewman Flores, Ensign Nakamura, and crewman Sciel. Crewman Flores, well, we've met another character named Flores, haven't we? Presumably this is her great-great-grandpappy or similar. Right, only thing to do now is to board the shuttlecraft and head on down to the ice-bound death trap of a planet. And get 6,500 XP. The doors? The doors, Mr. Scott, the door... Oh, wait, never mind. That may need a little bit of a fix. Welcome to Taurus 2. It's just as hospitable as it ever was, i.e. not very. Gentle touchdown, and welcome to... yeah. Also, welcome Dr. Muller, who is just standing there holding an invisible gun, because that's entirely sensible. Also, I didn't see you on the shuttlecraft dock. Well, what the hell. Let's keep moving. Ensign, what do you got for me? Just as grim as I remember it. Yeah, it is, and, well, that's because they very well could be out there waiting to attack. It'd be a rather boring mission if we didn't get shot at least. And the ship appeared to have crashed somewhere to the north. There were two paths and maybe survives on both, so we're gonna split the party! Because that's totally a sensible thing to do. Alpha team goes northwest, she'll go along the northeast with Beta. That's fine, Ensign. I have a feeling we're not going to see you again. At least, not alive. Right, so she talks to Okamura, we pick up Flores and Tarsi as backup, and then we're heading off to the northwest. So, let's go. Phasers out, people. This could not possibly go wrong. To sprint, tap the shift key while moving, and yes, it is a warp nacelle, and yes, it is big. You have seen a starship before, haven't you, Ensign? Okay, also we have some rather smaller debris here. I don't think we're going to be able to salvage this ship, guys. Yeah, better start filling out the insurance claim. So, scans the debris. Now, the tutorial here tells you to use the V key to find anomalies, but I'm hammering the V key and nothing is happening. Little bit awkward there. Right. Pull out the scanner. Old style tricorder, but new style animation. Still pokey pokey. Definitely Federation tech. Yeah, the Starfleet paint job didn't give it away at all. And what's left of a shuttlecraft's coolant assembly. So yeah, there might be a crash shuttle nearby. Let's have a look. Because after all, we've got half of it here. Where's the other half? Ah, Bernie debris. Bits of shuttle. More bits of shuttle. And there's the crash shuttle. Yay! Come on, let's go rescue the survivor. Yeah, come on. Pop, 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 pop. Come on, rescue the survivor. Treat survivor. Yes, would the word be look out for the plasma leak? Which is an interesting way of teaching you that your interactions can in fact be interrupted if you move or get into combat. So, while Dr. Grogan is barbecuing, let's have a word. You won't be able to close enough to revive him while that thing's venting plasma, but we should be able to shut off the vents. So, okay, let's shut off vent alpha. Poke, poke, prod, thump. There we go. Dealt with. It is, however, still venting plasma. How are you, Doc? Medium rare? Rare? Well done? Extra crispy? Vent beta. Ah, okay, that's a nice touch. Let's pull back for a second. Yeah, there we go. Panel just slides down automatically. Handy that for maintenance. And then push the big red button. This is why they have Starfleet commissions, ladies and gentlemen. Starfleet 101 is, of course, pushing big red button. Right, treat the injured survivor. Let's see. First degree burns, second degree burns, fourth degree burns. Some weird graphical glitching going on the roof of the shuttle, but nice work on the damaged art. And what things were, yes, stunning grasp, but obviously means the 10-foot tall spear chucking natives. Flores, look out. Specifically, those 10-foot tall spear chucking natives. Right, do we have guns? Yes, we have guns. What do they feed those things? I'm guessing... Oh, you've got the phaser rifle, have you? Oh, for heaven's sake. This is how you shoot straight. Okay, he has a rock-throwing ability. Alright, then down you go. Come on, there we are. He's thought better of it. And the good doctor mysteriously teleported. Little bit of clipping with the camera there. Our friend decides to run off, and we decide to run over to the doctor as well. And then the good doctor has mysteriously warped back over. And yeah, this needs tidying up a bit, doesn't it? Right, there we are. So, Flores. Flores? Flores. Oh wow, Starfleet self-disposing corpses. Well, I hope he got laid the last time he was home, because otherwise we're going to have to rewrite the regular Starfleet intro somewhat. No doubt with Flores complaining how her great-grandpappy was Starfleet security and killed on Taurus 2. Her grandpappy was Starfleet security and got killed in a freak instant when he got between a glommer and a pack of tribbles. And her pappy was Starfleet security and killed in a bizarre incident involving eccentric Golumbits, which Admiralty reviewed most thoroughly, ruled was not germane to morale, and sealed under the highest possible security clearances. Then, of course, you have Elisa Flores, who is Starfleet tactical, because she's not, contrary to popular belief, a moron. So, Dr. Grogan, what do we got? You're Dr. Phineas Grogan, studying the Mosaic effect. Well, you were, then the shuttle crashed. And he was looking for supplies, and then I walked over, and then the plasma coil blew. And as we can see, he is in fact remarkably good for a corpse that's been toasted medium rare by plasma fire. You're lucky to be alive, Doctor. 3 inches lower, and you would in fact be barbecue. And he knows it, so we should get the supplies back to camp. I'll get the supplies. Remember, this is why we have lieutenants in Starfleet. And that completes search and rescue, and we immediately get bull by the horns, which should probably be called Chase the Itinerant Doctor. Get back here, you little sod. So here we are at what passes for the base camp. It's rather Spartan. We've got one researcher Halleck. Pretty sure there should be a... Hang on. There was a space there. I'd swear blind there wasn't a space there to start with, but I may have just been hallucinating. Yeah, there we go. That's weird. So, no space there. Mouse up, target down. Space there. Mouse up, target down. Space there. Mouse left, target someone else. No space. Mouse up, target him. No space. Space. Target someone else. Space. No space. How very weird. It looks as though it's displaying the entity's internal names in the map, and then occasionally remembering, oh yeah, they ought to have proper names as well. That is very, very weird. Not quite sure what's producing that. So we need to talk to Dr. Muller, who is in fact our friendly, calm chappie over here. Hi there. We thought you were stranded here with those monsters. We need to get back to the shuttlecraft, but we'll have you out of here soon, sir. And the supplies will come in handy while we wait. And maybe some old phaser rifles. Yay! Well, let's have a look. So, deliver the supplies, and woohoo! Rifles in the crate. Now, the ensign is setting up some targets. I hit a showstopper bug here on my last attempt, because you can see the crew here come over and pick up their phaser rifles, which mysteriously morph into Mark 1 2409 style. Now then, let's take a rifle as well. Bingo! So this is where I hit a showstopper the previous time. Old style pad, nice touch, although I'm not sure where she was hiding it. So, open quick equip. Click here to continue. Then click on any item slot for your captain, bridge officer, and the equip slot will show if you're in a map with bank access, otherwise they will be grey. So left click that, and then it doesn't register that we've equipped the phaser rifle. So let's unequip it. Try quick equip again. And it still doesn't want to know. Swap rifles a few times. Yeah, this is the showstopper I hit last time. The game should be trying to recognise that I have in fact pulled out a phaser rifle, and it is merely getting itself very, very confused. Most curious. I thought initially it was because I had grabbed the phaser rifle before the colonists, sorry, doctors, sorry, hapless targets picked them up, but now it appears that no, it's irrespective of that. Also, while we're here, please note that they do in fact have differing patterns of wear and tear on their clothing, although the good doctor is showing a distinct lack of scorch marks, so that's a nice touch. They aren't just recycling the same uniform pattern over and over again. Now, can we get past this sequence breaking bug, or are we utterly... Oh wow, the shuttle bay, what's left of it. Let's take a quick peek up in here, and... Ooh. This, guys, is why you tie the shuttles down when you don't need them. Well, that's another line on the insurance claim. So, let's see. Can we get this moving on at all? Can I do something really, really stupid? No, I probably shouldn't try deleting the phaser rifle to see if I can re-equip it. Also, nice touch that the buttons are glowing and pulsing. So, go into shooter mode. Go out of shooter mode. Swap weapons at random. No, this isn't having it, but proper Type 3 Nadion firefight. Worth noting that Tau Ceti's phaser rifle was using the next-gen style orange fire, so that's something else that needs to be quietly tidied up. But let's just see if a change of character will switch this for us. Log this character out. Okay it. Location bridge. Interesting. And then play. Reload. Modern transporter effect. Is that going to be an issue? Equip the phaser rifle. Right, so welcome back to Taurus 2. Character is now over here. Dr. Grogan's over there. There we go. Now then, do I have to show them how to use a phaser? Yes, apparently I do. That is awkward, awkward, awkward. Okay, time to pull out another character, see if we can get it any better with a different race or setup. So, create a new character. Let's have a Satellite this time. Okay, so welcome back to Taurus 2. Just a little something I noticed but didn't point out in the last run is that, of course, Ensign Okamura again is using a next-gen, well, post-next-gen era pad, so that's something else that needs to be quietly tidied up. Anyhow, let's trigger mirrors and get moving. Stay alert, see you there. Right, off we go. Come on, Flores, we're going to get you killed again. Right, so here we go again. Talk to Dr. Muller, and this time we will grab one of the phaser rifles before the good doctors have a chance to get them. So, talk to 1, talk to 2, there we are, and then put down supplies, and then it's my rifle. Mine, 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 mine. Okay, excellent. So, distribute the rifles, which means that the scientists grab theirs. Come on, there we go. Done. So, equip the phaser rifle. Now, let's do this properly. Click on an item slot for your captain, ship, or bridge officer. Then the equip item will show all items that we use. So, equip. And no. Okay, we still appear to be somewhat broken. Maybe it needs a drag and drop on the inventory. So, quick equip currently appears to break the mission. That is most awkward. That doesn't help. What about if we use a right click and equip? No, that doesn't work either. Oh, Antonio, standard utility cruiser, eh? Yeah. Fair enough. This does indeed appear to be busted. I am going to do some research on this one, ladies and gentlemen, see if someone else has found a way past it. But that wraps up our first take on the Agents of Yesterday beta on Tribble, and I hope you'll join me next time. Until then, farewell.